The way we eat has changed more in the last 50 years than in the previous 10,000. But the image that's used to sell the food, it is still the imagery of agrarian America. You go into the supermarket and you see pictures of farmers. The picket fence and the silo and the 30s farmhouse and the green grass. It's the spinning of this pastoral fantasy. The modern American supermarket has on average 47,000 products. There are no seasons in the American supermarket. Now there are tomatoes all year round, grown halfway around the world, picked when it was green, and ripened with ethylene gas. Although it looks like a tomato, it's kind of a notional tomato. I mean, it's the idea of a tomato. In the meat aisle, there are no bones anymore.
There is this deliberate veil, this curtain that's dropped between us and where our food is coming from. The industry doesn't want you to know the truth about what you're eating, because if you knew, you might not want to eat it.
If you follow the food chain back from those shrink-wrap packages of meat, you find a very different reality. The reality is a factory. It's not a farm, it's a factory. That meat is being processed by huge multinational corporations that have very little to do with ranches and farmers.
Now our food is coming from enormous assembly lines where the animals and the workers are being abused. And the food has become much more dangerous in ways that are being deliberately hidden from us.
You've got a small group of multinational corporations who control the entire food system. From seed to the supermarket. They're gaining control of food.
This isn't just about what we're eating. This is about what we're allowed to say, what we're allowed to know. It's not just our health that's at risk.
The companies don't want farmers talking. They don't want this story told.
The whole industrial food system really began with fast food. In the 1930s, a new form of restaurant arose, and it was called the drive-in. The McDonald brothers had a very successful drive-in, but they decided to cut costs and simplify. So they fired all their car hops, they got rid of most of the things on the menu, and they created a revolutionary idea to how to run a restaurant. And they basically brought the factory system to the back of the restaurant kitchen. They trained each worker to just do one thing again and again and again. By having workers who only had to do one thing, they could pay them a low wage, and it was very easy to find someone to replace them. It was inexpensive food, it tasted good, and this McDonald's fast food restaurant was a huge, huge success. That mentality of uniformity, conformity, and cheapness applied widely and on a large scale has all kinds of unintended consequences. Tyson, for example, is the biggest meatpacking company in the history of the world. The industry changed the entire way that chicken are raised. Birds are now raised and slaughtered in half the time they were 50 years ago, but now they're twice as big. People like to eat white meat, so they redesigned the chicken to have large breasts. They not only changed the chicken, they changed the farmer. Today, chicken farmers no longer control their birds. A company like Tyson owns the birds from the day they're dropped off until the day that they're slaughtered.
We built something that, you know, from a food safety standpoint, we think we're ahead of everybody. We think we can lessen the incidence of E. coli 01578. So I just started working with ammonia and ammonia hydroxide. Ammonia kills bacteria, so it became a processing tool. I'm really a mechanic. That's really what I am. We design our own machinery. This is our finished product.
Is your meat in most of the hamburgers in the country?
70%. In 5 years, we think we'll be in 100%. We do have some competitors. I think we're going to beat them. You know, it's a marriage of science and technology.
In a way, we're not producing chickens. We're producing food. It's all highly mechanized. So all the birds coming off those farms have to be almost exactly the same size.
It is nasty in here. There's dust flying everywhere. There's feces everywhere. This isn't farming. This is just mass production, like an assembly line in a factory. When they grow from a chick, then in 7 weeks you've got a 5.5 pound chicken, their bones and their internal organs can't keep up with the rapid growth. A lot of these chickens here, they can take a few steps and then they plop down. It's because they can't keep up with all the weight that they're carrying.
You look at the labels and you see farmer this, farmer that. It's really just 3 or 4 companies that are controlling the meat. We've never had food companies this big and this powerful in our history.